Hello and welcome to Shay Zasaa and a Zasaa Zooms In. And I've got Yemi and Victoria with me again. They've been on before and they're back again. And this time we are talking about what we have titled the stages of life. Welcome, Yemi. Welcome, Victoria.
Hi.
Thank you for coming
Hi,
back. Yemi, thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
Yemi was threatening that he wouldn't come back, but I knew he would. Okay, so we're talking about the stages of life. And I've actually had a conversation about this before, but I think what I wanted to talk about specifically is the changes that happen that maybe we don't see coming. And not necessarily physical change. I think for women, there's a lot of physical changes that happen to us at different stages. Actually, for men too, probably. I think we underestimate how much it happens for men as well. But I mean, it's more spoken about with women and it's more, you know what I mean? But the ones that we don't see coming. I had a friend on the show the other day, and he said women, he was talking about, we were just talking, I can't remember what the topic was, but anyway, he made a comment that hasn't left me, because he said a lot of women, men marry women and they think that the women are not going to change, and women marry men thinking that they can change the man, which made me think, oh my gosh, interesting. You know what I mean? I think he has a point that actually we don't, and I almost think, so I don't even know what the question is going to be, but I'll get there. I almost think that there's a certain, because we know that, I think generally we know that women change. That's always like the thing, that women change. But when we hit 30, something happens. When we hit 40, something happens. When we hit 50, forget it. You know that type of thing. I think there's a general thing that people know that women change. Man, as the man in the room, do you think that men change in the same? I mean, okay, so you have a wife and you've seen her change in certain, because you've been married for a period of time, so you've seen certain changes in her. Have there been changes in you?
Absolutely. For me, it's been very pronounced because of my career choices. So my initial work was as an IT specialist. I now moved into financial investments, whereby you're spending a lot of time focused on computer screens, financial data, financial information, pigeonholed, tunnel visioned, focused on using money as a investment vehicle. You're looking at figures, you're focused so much at the task at hand, and this has happened later on in my life, so it's not something that I started doing. I've been doing it for the last 6-7 years, and my life has changed because I've really ended up spending a lot of time focused on that part of my life now. Physically, I've changed. So
no, but wait. I want to go back to this thing about. So, are you saying that by this change of career has changed your character?
It certainly has.
Oh, wow.
It has. Okay, so when I worked in software development, yes, I develop a piece of software, it works, sell it to a client, that's it. Give them support afterwards. With financial investments, you're dealing with an unknown, something that is kind of not in your control. I can't determine where the price of a financial asset is going to be. There's a risk as well. There's a psychological effects. There's a worry. Am I going to hit my targets? Am I going to get a return? There's the technology, having to relearn stuff. There's just so much happening that you are focused on ensuring that you are profitable. And that itself, if care is not taken, could end up changing everything about you. Maybe it's unique to me, but I'll just say definitely my life has changed. I'm not the same person.
It's funny because I think that I can almost get part of that, because I think that because I guess you're under a stress, tension situation for a long period of time, as opposed to, so that would change a person, I guess. You know what I mean? But then my question then would be, well, why would you do that to yourself? That's my question. Like, if you know that, do you understand what I mean? So like, it's so interesting that it's changed. I mean, I can see it, but it's because you just don't think that, changing a career will change your character, because you kind of feel like your character is who you are, and it's kind of not set in stone, but it's really interesting. So why? Yes, answer my question.
My
why?
question, when did you actually realize you were changing? Also, I think.
Okay, the first times, I'll come back to your question. First times was, I used to have, everyone had access to me. So you could call me anytime, call me whenever. But then and I'm sure I've said it to you, don't call me between 5 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the evening, because I will not pick up the phone. I will not even join a prayer meeting or anything, because that is when the markets are opened. Okay. And I'm just focused on the company in Nigeria and also focused on our investment and trades. So at that point in time, I have to discipline myself. Now, years back, you can call me anytime. I mean, I'd be developing a piece of software. I'd be on my phone saying this. I'd even be in a prayer meeting or something. But now it's like I have to be so disciplined and focus on that area. Like, I'll give you an example. There was a point in time where I was speaking to someone and I was making a trade at the same time. And I got distracted and I lost money.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can see why that would happen.
Yeah.
So learning from that made me have to make that decision to say, right, I can't do this and, have a very good social life. Now, the big question you asked, why did I do this?
No, wait, first of all, Victoria asked, when did you notice that?
Oh,
Because you need to have picked it up, and then when you
Was it
know
yesterday
why,
when I was having the conversation with you?
I think I had to admit it when we had our conversation. But I think, okay, one, not going to a lot of parties like I used to, weddings, your party as well, if I remember. Just saying, I'll be at that party and then not honoring the invitation because of one thing or the other, or just making that, having to make those choices. Oh, if I attend that meeting, then I'm going to miss removal
But you
of the
see,
market.
what you're saying here is when you realize that you weren't doing things, but did you actually at that point realize that it had changed your character?
No, I didn't. It was only afterwards I thought, whoa. I was a ball of the party. I was,
a DJ.
I was a DJ.
Wow.
Yeah. I was doing the candy slide with everyone. I don't even know how to do a candy slide anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I then started to realize. I think one day I spoke to my wife and I said, "Oh, when was the last time we actually went to a party? We go to people's 50th or 60th, but we suddenly realized we hadn't been going out, and most of it was my fault." Because, so that was it. I'd remain on the trading desk, be speaking to the guys in Nigeria, and then you'd even think Saturday and Sunday, okay, well, it's time for rest. No, because we now have to analyze what we've been doing during the week, the trades, the research, etc. So, yes, I have transformed into, I have gone from an extrovert to becoming an introvert.
Okay, so... what was the question I asked?
You said why then?
I said, why would you do that? Okay, but
Okay, so the pursuit of
why?
the pursuit of
finances.
finance, of wealth, of happiness, if we could call that, and then also because later on in my life I, decided to set up this company, this wealth management company. Yes, and I've kind of gone so much into it now. So for some people, it's not the same. I mean, I've got friends who are millionaires. I don't do what I do. But because of where I'm at now, because this company is growing, I'm at that point in time where I'm having to do that. Now, they started doing it years ago. I mean.
Okay, so let me ask you one last question about this before I pick on you too much. This is my last question. So would you say that, because it's okay for me to say, why would you do that? But are you actually... I'm assuming that the fact that you do that, bearing in mind that you have a family and all these things, is because you feel like it's the right thing to do and you believe in it, right? So my question was actually going to be, are you happy with the way things are in that sense?
It's a very good question. Am I happy in the fact that I'm living a dream, living my passions? Yes, I am. What I'm not happy with is my relationships with people, which have really, really taken a huge dent, massive one, if I could say that.
Okay, but I guess, and I think maybe the issue here would be the communication, because I think that anybody that's doing something like that, you're going to have to focus in, you're going to, and then like we said, a lot of companies within 5 years, so sometimes you almost have to say, I need 5 years to do this or whatever. And so I guess it's the communication. If your friends know that, 5 years, it's not that I don't like you, it's not that I'm fighting with you, but I just need to focus, then you don't necessarily, you know what I mean? Then it's if it's like there's nothing, and then the relationships are falling apart, and Yemi's just never available available, he's just never available. Then, and I'm sure that's what it is. So you have a lot of apologizing.
There is, but then you could look at it in a different way. So some could assume, okay, because he's working in wealth management, he's making so much wealth. So it's now gone to his head, and he doesn't want to talk.
Which
to
is
people.
why the communication is
It's
key.
important,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know what I mean? So, because I do think that, but I really, I don't know about you, but I really find that comment, and I agree with you, and I can see why, but that thing that a change in something can change your character in such a
Yeah.
manner. I wonder, I think for me, I just wonder whether when things are established, when things have taken off, like let's say in 10 years, when you've been doing it 10 years and everything is kind of working by itself, whether you will revert or whether you will remain. Do you understand what I mean?
I hope so, but I hope the
You hope
people
what?
that
You'll revert.
as in I will go back to what I was,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, yeah.
But I hope the people who I've kind of, I don't want to use the word hurt, but who have had to put up with that will still be around.
Well, that was going to be my question, because if you don't maintain some kind of communication along this journey, even though it's reduced, then because you still need them when you hit that success, there's no point having that success and then you're on your own. So it's that balance.
Lots of communication has to happen. And I'm going to be your accountability partner. I'll be checking
By all
that
means,
you
please.
have made the communication with the relevant. I mean, you can't do it with everybody, but there's certain people that I'm sure you know who they are. I don't know.
Yeah.
That communication can happen. Because I think I've never thought about it like that. It's literally, it was when you, I mean, you said it yesterday, but I didn't. It was when we were saying now, I was like, that means the whole character has changed.
I'm quite surprised you never noticed.
No, I've noticed, but I just thought you were busy. You know, as in you're busy, and then also because you're in two countries,
Yes.
so it's like, oh, he's out of town. So I'd noticed, but not. I didn't feel it hasn't affected my friendship with you per se. Do you know what I mean? But I'd noticed that you were not as around. But I didn't. You
Or
know,
as bubbly.
Well, you're bubbly enough with me. You hadn't been unbubbly with me. Do you get what I mean? But
Well, but does he have a choice though? You probably wouldn't allow him.
That's because someone like you
bring
you
that
guys, you bring that
energy.
out. But then some other people are like, what's wrong with him? Why is he, going off like he's got a chip on his shoulder? And I definitely don't. It's just that I do spend a lot of time. We're having this conversation now. Guess what's going through my head? Ooh, I wonder what's happening to Apple.
Oh gosh.
Based on that phone that they released, last week. So these are the
so it
things.
kind of takes over your life.
Yes. And I think that's where we have to be careful, that when we reach a certain age and we embark upon career choices, new choices, we've just got to remember that it could affect those who we love, who are around us. It could.
I just thought of something. Sorry, finish. Then I'll-
Yeah, because going back to it, if I had done this in my 20s, 30s, then okay, this is the time where I'd have been, being able to have a social life, be able to do all the things that I need to do, give back into the community. But now I'm having to do all of that now, where I've already established or had a very good social life. So, yes.
No, you know what I thought of when you said it, why I sighed, was I was thinking actually, because when I said it takes over your whole life, it's motherhood. You know what I mean? And it's true when you think about it, there's certain people that I know, and I don't know, I probably have to ask people about myself, but there's certain people that I do know that motherhood changed them, as in changed them. And for a lot of the time for the better, like, really selfish ones became a bit, because they had to look after, so all of a sudden it wasn't about them anymore. So it did, but it changed their character. Just the fact that you have something that completely takes over your life and you have to adjust to it. So I guess that makes sense, although I never thought about it like that. It could just change your character. I feel like men, I'm going to let you come in a minute, Victoria. I feel like men are really blessed by the changes that happen in women. And the reason I say this is because most men want more than one wife. Do you know what I mean? So you have, in the period of a marriage, you have like 7 wives.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
That's a confusing way of looking at it.
We had a couples weekend away in church years ago, and I was part of the organizing team, and there was this couple, and the wife, when you change your hair, it changes everything.
Yeah.
And the wife came with different wigs.
Okay.
And every time she came out, I kept thinking, who is this woman? As in, I don't recognize her in a couple.
Yeah.
And it's only when I saw her with her husband that I realized she was wife. So at the end of the couples weekend away, I remember saying to the husband, I said, it's like you came here with 5 women. Because every time she was completely different. You know what I mean? And that it just ran. It's like, you say, okay, you have the mother. So when she becomes a mother, things change. When she becomes, like just different things. And menopause, things change. When she, I don't know, whatever, So that's a good way of looking at it. Because they say the argument is, I'm not saying I agree with it, but the argument is that, men are, cannot be, what's the word?
Multitaskers?
No, I'm talking about to have one wife.
Oh,
Cannot
okay.
be monogamous, yes.
Yeah.
That they were made to have many wives. That's it. You have 7 wives in one. I gave it to you.
Oh, man. There you go. Yeah.
But anyway, Victoria, changes, stages.
Well, I have one question for you,
go on.
actually. So when you said, when you spoke to your wife and realized that, we haven't really gone out, did you actually then become intentional to say, okay, we need to do something? What have you done since then, like to break that cycle? Or what do you do? Just, yeah.
So yes, I mean, she had said it previously, and I kind of just said, okay, yeah, don't worry, we'll do it, we'll get there. But it then dragged on, so missing holidays. Also, I never missed her birthday, don't worry. But
Jesus.
I was about to say, my brain was going, okay, good.
But just some things that I would do in the past that I had not. And my wife's very patient. She's long suffering, but not forever.
We love you, Toots.
Well, not forever suffering. So we then kind of had to be honest with ourselves, and not just my wife, my son as well, who's growing young teen. Noticed that yes, he started getting stuck into his own world. So I think she was good enough to arrange a holiday for us, whereby we chose not to. Well, the past when we've gone on our holidays, I'd end up taking my laptops with me and my screens, and I'll be looking at the stock market. Oh, just this little moment because Netflix are about to do this and that, so I'll be there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes becomes an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, and I'm still on it. So we made a decision on this little holiday that we were going to have that there'll be no devices, no stock markets, things like that. And yeah, it was a bit hard for me to do, but I did it. The great thing is that my son and I have a very good relationship. Kind of really come back together like a team. And I discovered quite a lot about him that I didn't even know. So yeah, big shout outs to Tutu.
Oh, wow. Go on.
What was the other thing that, oh gosh, I've lost my train of thought right now. I think you asked something.
No, so I was actually going to ask you about, in terms of stage, do you think, because stages in life, so you're not yet married.
No.
But you are in a very good career and you have a very good social circle, life. Do you think that things have changed from when you were, I mean, it's a stupid question because everything changes. And I think I should say this now. I believe that if you're not changing, there's a problem, first of all. So I'm talking about major changes when I talk about it here as opposed to changing, because I think everybody needs to be changing all the time. Yeah. Do you think that you've had any major changes?
Physically or in general?
In general, physically included. I think physically we can't run from it.
Yeah, we can't run from it at all. For me, I think it went through different cycles. I'm quite a social person. I've always been. But I think my first change that happened was when all my friends started getting married. Then it was like, who am I going to hang out with? Who am I going to go out with? Because I went through this phase where some people, when they were married, then they just don't invite you to things. And then you're thinking, but I'm still human. That thing was like really getting under my skin. And then I was like, you know what, I'll make new friends. But I'll carry on living. But it felt lonely. I won't
Don't talk too much because I'm going to have you on to talk specifically about this. So don't go too much into detail.
So, and then body-wise, tiredness. I'm 45. So, yes, I'm a social person. I do like to go out a lot. I do travel a lot. But then also, sometimes I have to tell myself, I have to cancel certain things because
the body can't handle it.
Like, calm down, Missy. But I also listen to my body. So when I feel that, I just say, okay, shut down and just relax and do nothing. And it just works wonders. And then I go back to myself. But I also find with the social side of me, I think because you have more disposable at hand, I can do more and I can pick and choose what I want as opposed to when I was younger. So that is a good part. So in my mind, I feel especially where I'm not married. I want to enjoy it as much when I have the time to do things now. And then, because there might come a time I might not be able to, even though I want to. So, yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel.
It's interesting because you see, I think, okay, the physical changes, right? Anyway, no, let's leave that because I think that's a completely...
I do have another thing that I'm getting. People will say that I am not acting my age, that I need to calm down and act my age, and I'm like, no. So it's funny, when I was younger, my aunties, when they were in their 40s, I used to think of them as old. Now I'm that auntie, and I don't feel that way.
But who are the people telling you to calm down?
Sometimes
Older
friends,
people or
yeah,
age
it could
mates?
be older or younger, but it also shows what I'm learning is probably people who don't have confidence in themselves. So I go away, I am quiet on social media, I show myself off. I could be, if I'm on the beach, I'm going to be in my swimwear, whatever. But some people
People have a problem with that.
yeah, they were like,
I don't know.
And then I'm in the worship team too. So I'm like, I still love God. I'm still Christian. So people question and they're like, but your age. And I'm like, no. But it's also because I love myself. So, yes, so I'm going through that phase also at the moment. But I really don't care what people think. So I just do me. I just do me. Because I actually feel good about myself. So it's like, why not? I'm like, you've only got one life, so why not? So that's the stage I am now, where they're like, you're not acting yourself. But I also know people secretly.
Well, it's because
they want to, but they can't.
Yeah, and I feel like it says more about the person than it does about you when they say things like that. And I think to be able to actually just be who you are is like the best thing ever. But there's so many haters because they either regret that they couldn't do it themselves, or they think, why should she be able to do it and I can't do it? Or maybe for whatever reason, maybe their husband won't like it, or whatever the issue is that they, So I do think, And what
and it's not. Sorry, one more thing I just popped. It's not just married people, also single. I shared this with some friends in the past where I've had one in specific where is a single friend who we had to cut the friendship because she said how I live my life, she resents me for it. And that really hurt. But it's because she can't live it. She doesn't understand how I can enjoy myself. She doesn't understand how I hang out with married people. She doesn't understand how I can go to weddings and dance. She can't understand how I can be around kids' parties. She doesn't understand. But that was making her angry and resentful of me. So I had to love her and cut off.
I'm in the presence of two amazing women who are living their lives, not playing up to the gallery.
I know.
And I say that in the sense that a lot of people have to play to the gallery. Quite have to. They've got no choice. And
when you say they've got no choice, what do you mean?
Oh, you have. I won't go too far, but...
As in because of the people around them?
Or maybe what they do, or their occupation, ministry, or whatever. They have to wear a mask. And the freedom you get being able to live your life, make your own choices, whether people understand it or not, it's something that you should be thankful to God for. Because I tell you not, the fact that you can do this, I'm going to encourage you to keep on doing it.
I'm not going to stop.
You don't owe anybody anything.
You know, the thing for me, more especially, I truly feel I am loved by God.
Amen.
So
Amen
because I know that He loves me, I don't care what anyone says. So that just gives me peace. I'm not perfect, but just knowing Him, His love, makes me like the world was here for me to enjoy. So enjoy it.
I'll quickly give you a little one that I'm sure your listeners will watchers will identify with. There's a song in Yoruba. It's by a Yoruba artist from 4 years ago, Ebenezer Obi, and it gives you a story about this man who was going on a journey, and he decided to ride a donkey. He got on a donkey, and he was going with his child. And each time when he'd go on the journey, someone would say something about him. So first of all, he got on the donkey, his child was walking. People were saying, "Oh, you horrible man, why are you..."
Child walking,
He then put his child on the donkey and decided to walk. People then said, "Oh, you horrible man, you fool, why are you, letting your child walk?"
Why are you walking, letting your child ride,
He then decided to carry the donkey and walk with it, and they called him this and that. So the adage of the song says, you can never please the world, no matter what you try and do. And yes, within reason, I mean, no one's asking us to do crazy stuff, but whatever you do that makes you comfortable, that people don't even understand, do you, because you've only got this life.
Yep.
And irrespective of what happens, the people that keep on criticizing or say this about you, they are not going to be there when it really counts. So enjoy your life, enjoy it.
Allow me to enjoy myself.
Yes.
How many minutes does that say?
54.
53 seconds.
Yes.
Okay. Can you see that this Yemi guy? Can you see? He didn't want to come on. Can you see? Now he's talking there. We're going to bring you back on to talk about doing you. Now that you've brought that up. But yes, what was our thing? Stages of life. We kind of touched on it, different stages, and I think the important thing that we're bringing out of this is that, at every stage be yourself, I guess. Maybe that's what we're saying. But we're going to get Yemi back to his extrovert self soon enough, because that thing of be yourself, then who are you? Are you the extrovert or the introvert? The one that changed the character. But anyway, let us know what you think. If you're not following us, speak English. If you are not following us on YouTube, please do. And yes, keep rocking your own gorgeous, and we will see you next time. I think I have a few seconds left, so you're going to have to wait. Just look at me whilst my seconds go.